How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. The Bengals have lost in, well, Bengals fashion here. One score game, blow it at the end of the game. That typical, or blow the lead at the end of the game, we should say. A typical Bengals loss that we're getting used to seeing here in Cincinnati. I gotta say again, though, it was a pretty promising game from the offensive side of the ball once again. This was a game that, it started off with that red zone INT of Joe Burrow, but it was off that tip where he would have found Boyd wide open, or not, I shouldn't say wide open. It was open, though, in the back of the end zone there. Instead, they go out there, turn the ball over in the red zone. But the defense, they answered themselves. Came right back with an interception of their own and prevented Baker Mayfield from even moving the football in general. In that entire first quarter, he had 0 passing yards. So the offense, the defense, they was all playing well in that first quarter for the second straight week. Which, the more you think about it, you start to wonder how much of it is, again, we've talked about the coaching game before. I felt like Taylor, it was one of those games again. I didn't look back and say, hey, guess what? You should have probably called this here, this there. I thought it was a pretty well-called game on the offensive side of the ball. They did what they had to do with a backup running back in Gio starting and a passing game that was clearly working for this Cincinnati Bengals team. Even though Burrow was hit and sacked multiple times again today, which might be getting worse before it gets better, believe it or not. Now that you've seen the Bengals, they had 3 offensive starting linemen go down in this game. Hopefully we'll see, as time progresses, how much any of them, if they miss any time at all. Hopefully there's a speedy recovery there, as there's been clearly some offensive line struggles. Can only imagine going to the next man up in 3 different positions for this Bengals offensive line. So hopefully we see those guys come back quickly and healthy here. But I think, we've seen a difference in Joe Burrow this game and last game, and the reason the Browns blitzed and brought so much pressure this week is because last week it was effective. I think last week's that first week we really, took a step back and said, oh, okay, Joe Burrow, the man's human. The man can make mistakes. You put a little pressure on him and he starts to, make some silly mistakes there. And he did that a couple times against the Ravens. But what you love to see here is he came back this week and he said it's not going to happen again. Again, under duress. He was under pressure a lot this game. But he's seen the pressure coming, and he knew where, whether it was Drew Sample going out to the flat or he had a receiver that was going to be cutting across the middle that was going to be open. He found the matchups and got rid of the ball quickly, and it didn't feel like he was getting killed as much this game. Granted, he got sacked again 4 times. 4 times, but it was his ability to get rid of that football and find those matchups, I think, that made it didn't feel like he was getting killed. That Rams game or Ravens game was a scary game, and the coaching staff noticed that. That's why we brought it up. They was going out and said, you know what, we're done. Got to the 4th quarter and they just tried to run the clock out. And for that reason, it was good to see, once again, Burrow could go out there and try to learn from what he made, learn from the mistakes in that Ravens game where he wasn't getting the ball out quickly, or where he was getting the ball out into the wrong areas because of that pressure coming. I feel like that was something he had a big improvement on from last week to this week. Now, of course, the Browns ain't got no Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey, but they do have Denzel Ward, who's, again, a solid CB in his own there. So I think, Burrow took a pretty big step up. A big step up that was helped because of guys like AJ Green, who for the 2nd straight week, he's starting to look like a AJ Green of old. We've seen a couple misconnections or communications there between Burrow and Green, but for the most part, they're starting to tick. We've seen those back shoulder passes to Green. He trusted Green, going down that field in that 4th down or 4th quarter drive where Green had 5 yards and he actually fought to get the 1st down, something we ain't seen out of AJ lately. So you're starting to see him getting that little spark and that fight back in him as well. I think here is AJ, and he's really enjoying playing with Burrow. Tyler Boyd played well again. Higgins played well again. Again, like we said, we've seen Sample get involved in the pass game as well. It was a really good game as far as Burrow was just, again, looking for his man, finding the right matchup. He's going to get Mike Thomas involved a couple times as well again today. I love seeing Mike Thomas get involved. I really do, because it shows this man's, as a quarterback, his ability to spread out the football when he's looking for Sample, when he's looking for Thomas. When you got those 3 studs in Boyd, Green, and Higgins, and you're more worried about the coverages. You're more worried about just, finding the matchup you like. Doesn't matter who's out there on the field, and throwing him that football, trusting he's going to go up and get it. And Thomas was a man who, he made a couple good catches in this game as well here for this Bengals team. So the offense was clicking. But what we was talking about there was, I know everybody wants to bring up the coaching staff game. It's a popular thing to do when you're losing games and have one win nearly halfway through the season here when you're in Cincinnati. But I did not say or see a part in that game. I was like, that was just a terrible play call by Zach Taylor. Even down there in the 4th quarter, when they ran the ball twice, 2nd down, 3rd down, they ran the football with under 2 minutes left, which seemed like a very gutsy call, because if they didn't get that 1st down, it was going to be all sorts of, skepticism. Why in the heck would you run the ball on 2nd and 3rd down with that offensive line? Well, the reason you did it was because the defense didn't have a prayer in stopping his Browns offense. He was trying to waste as much clock as possible and prevent them from getting the ball back and scoring, or at least getting a field goal. We thought, okay, a minute left, a field goal, worst thing that can happen. They go down all the way down the field in this defense and score a touchdown. And that's the thing. You want to talk coaching staff. I'm stuck on Lou Anarumo. Just, I don't know if you want to call him not the guy, or if you want to say, well, look how depleted this defense is, specifically up the middle. The CB injuries they was dealing with this game, they didn't have out there. I mean, let's make a no-no. I mean, I think Logan Wilson played great this game. You seen him go out there, make a couple big tackles there behind the line of scrimmage. I think this guy is continuing to progress week in and week out there. So that's good to see from that standpoint, that some of these younger guys are continuing to play. Meanwhile, you got the older guys continuing to complain about not playing for, Carlos Dunlap. But when you see these guys go out there, and the defense plays well the first couple drives, and then the later you get into the game, the worse and worse it gets progressively, just like against the Colts. That's when you start to wonder that chess game where the coaching staff of the opposing team figures out what the Bengals are doing, and then a Bengals defensive coordinator doesn't have an answer. There's not an answer to the counter, and that's when you start to question a coaching staff, I think there. You question the getting out-coached in a game when you're, another team answers what you're doing. Like, okay, we figure out how to stop these guys, or we figure out how to beat these guys. Now you got to find a way to counter that counter and continue to progress and get better and, find a way to stop a team. Baker Mayfield has 7 touchdown passes against the Bengals this season. He's got 15 on the year. He's got 40% of his pass yards are against the Bengals this season. There's clearly, we can talk about how great Baker looked. He's looked great 2 games all year. And it was both against the Bengals. They've got to find a way to get pressure on the quarterback. They've got to find a way to slow guys down for 4 quarters. Period. And that might just be a thing. You're a 2-win team last season. Your guys that were supposed to put pressure on the quarterback don't have a prayer anymore because they're getting older and it's just they're not playing as much, whatever. There's just pieces in this defense. You got to go and, get the injuries. You got to go and draft. You got to go and get free agency. Maybe you can pick up some, some prospects or pick somebody up at the trade deadline and sign them long-term or something. I just think that's, as far as Bengals fans are concerned, I know it stings to see that atrocious record in 8-point games over the past 2 years, but we also have to keep in mind this is a team that really does need to pick up some pieces in some certain areas here, specifically to get to the quarterback. I think that helps the entire defense out there, because this offense, again, besides the Ravens game, has shown that it can keep this Bengals team in every single game all year. And that's the reason I think we're dissecting this defense so much more, because you don't expect to go #1 overall pick playoff team the next year. But Joe Burrow is putting his team in position to win football games, game in and game out. So it's getting highlighted there more. I just think we got to be patient. Got to be patient as Bengals fans here. Better days are coming. No questions about it. Right now, is it time to start cheering for a good draft pick? I still want to see him win. I want to see Burrow go. I don't want to see a losing mindset get into the locker room of this team. So I want to see this team win.